Hello, and welcome to Corriedale Reviews, Coronation Street. We had an eventful week on the Dales, and also an eventful week on the cobbles as well, although a lot of the action took place outside of the cobbles. I mean, while we've got Rebecca kidnapped in Emmerdale, we had Bethany kidnapped in Coronation Street as well, so it's been a big week for kidnap. The strange thing was, I watched Wednesday's episode of this week's Coronation Street while on the train. I was going all the way from York to Lancaster. It takes ages to get there, at least 2 hours. So I thought, I'd watched Emmerdale the night before with my tea, but I still had 2 Coronation Streets to watch. So I thought, you know what, I will save them for the train, and that will cut away at the time. And so, I watched the Coronation Streets on the train, and it was very uncomfortable having the scenes of Bethany tied up and gagged playing while on a train with a bunch of people. Sort of anyone can see what I'm watching, and it makes, you have some of them thinking, oh, hang on, what's this bloke watching over here? So obviously there's it was uncomfortable viewing in a public place. So anyway, last night's episode was one of those aftermath episodes where we sort of find out how everyone's reacting to everything. We've had Bethany and Craig and Kayla reacting to the week's events, and we had Eva reacting to the whole Johnny abducting her baby saga. One thing I really wanted to happen in this episode was Kayla confronting her dad and saying, actually, hang on, you were lying to me. You actually are a serial rapist and a despicable human being, and you aren't falsely accused. And I was so glad that did happen, because I really wanted that to happen. As soon as Kayla came back, because I thought it would have been very easy for the soap to just cast Kayla aside, just say, right, well, that's that storyline tied up. Now we'll focus on Bethany and Craig, who are going to get together, which honestly I don't really want. I preferred Kayla with Craig, but I mean, that's probably not going to happen now, is it? Yeah, but anyway, so it looks likely that Craig and Bethany will end up together. And I'll be honest, a lot of the scenes with them made for very uncomfortable viewing. One of the... I have got to the point, I admit, I know that I'm here to review the episodes and I have to watch the episodes in their entirety, but I did actually have to skip a couple of scenes with Bethany and Craig because they're just too hard to view. The whole, oh, Bethany, I wish I could talk to you like all the other girls, or I wish when I was talking to girls it was like I was talking to you, something like that. And it's just like, oh, for God's sake, I can't put up with that. I had to fast forward that. I just couldn't endure that. And I think I'm hoping that you can understand that, because it is very uncomfortable viewing to have a character like that saying something like that. So yes, when Bethany and Craig do appear on the screen, I normally fast forward. Unless I'm watching live, then I'll pop out the room and refill my drink or something. So yes, that is Bethany and Craig, and I think that's everything that needs to be said about the whole saga. That I like Kayla. I mean, she's been a bit of a B-word, but yeah, it is a shame that she loves her dad, and her dad's a hero to her. So obviously she's gonna do whatever it takes, even if it means break the law to clear his name. But then it turns out that, well, he's a guilty man. Anyway, that is that. So, and another thing, I mean, if I was Bethany, I would be incredibly offended with Craig saying, "Oh, I need to protect you. I need to protect you." I was thinking, soaps are so progressive. A lot of the time, like, look at Emmerdale, and we've got Robert and Aaron, a normal homosexual couple, and we've got Matty, a transgender character, played by an actual transgender actor, and in Coronation Street we've got, "Oh, I need to protect you because I'm a male and you're a female." It's chivalric sexism, and I'm a man, but I'm offended by it, and I imagine that a lot of women watching should be, and hopefully are, offended too, because it's not right to, enforce these stereotypes. And yes, Bethany has been through a lot, but I don't know. It's such a sexist idea of, "Oh, I'm a man, I need to protect my lady." It's very medieval, and it doesn't have a place in our society. So that annoys me, it angers me, and I think it's very offensive. So, okay, we'll move on to... Well, Tyrone and Fizz weren't really featured in Friday's episode, but they were featured in the week. Tyrone found out that his mum died, which pretty much is the thumbs up for Fizz to resume their relationship. In fact, they're probably not even going to do an episode with them reconciling. It's probably just reconciled. We'll probably just forget about the whole cheating saga and the whole... Fizz didn't tell Tyrone that it was actually Hope that was the one doing all the dangerous things, not Ruby. So there's that. But I think that's going to be all forgotten. I think Tyrone and Fizz will get back togetherness. Again, it's so annoying. It's like what I was saying in my Emmerdale review. The characters just need to talk instead of getting the wrong end of it, and just let the other person speak when they've got something to say, instead of saying something that's just going to make them throw a curveball. Like the whole thing with Abby, and how, Tyrone got the wrong end of the stick when Hope said that Fizz had a date, when it was actually, turns out the date was going to be her and him. He's like, "Oh, I'm going out with Abby then." And then that's another couple, 2 or 3 weeks we have to endure of them being separate before they inevitably get back together again, or maybe won't get back together. But I don't know. I like Tyrone and Fizz together, so I'm just hoping that they stay together. Kevin and Jack. Jack had his amputation last week with sepsis, so now he is trying to adapt to life with only one leg. So the big question that I always have about the plot is, how do they film it? Because I was thinking, when he's in a hospital bed, all they're probably going to do is have like a young actor with one leg, lying in the bed, and then having like his head disappears under something, and then Jack's head appears on top. But then, when he's getting in the wheelchair, how do they film that? Because have they actually cut the leg off the actor that plays Jack? Because I think that would be probably be illegal for a soap to do that. So is he wearing some green sock, and they're able to CGI his leg out of the shot or something? It's questions you ask like that. But yeah, they seem to be adapting well, and it looks like Kevin and Sophie are going to move into Liverpool with Jack so he can adapt to life with only one foot. Aude and Claude graced the scenes. Claudia was back. We've not seen Claudia in a long time, so it was really nice to see her again. Big pals with Audrey until Maria's involved. Audrey is really getting on my nerves with Maria. I mean, I understand it, but she's just too stubborn. Audrey's just too stubborn for her own good. All Maria wanted was a bit more of a say in the business. Just a bit more. She's been there for such a long time, and Audrey was, as Maria said, like a grandmother to her. And Maria's just like, no, you are my employee, I am your boss, and that's the way it's going to stay. And it's Maria, she's got ambitions, as people do. I'm sure Audrey was ambitious when she was Maria's age. She built that salon up with her own bare hands, did Audrey. So she was ambitious, and she's going to chastise Maria for having ambitions of her own. No, you should be working at the salon. I'm the boss, Maria. And it's, So Maria's going to buy a franchise from Claudia. Now, does anyone else think that's a scam? Because I was thinking it's a scam. And when Maria got Carla to look at the business plan with her, I was thinking, Carla's going to say, "Oh, Maria, you've been an idiot, it's a scam." But, she didn't. So when are we going to find out that the whole franchise plan is a scam? I don't know, maybe. Here's the thing, maybe Coronation Street will throw a curveball and it'll turn out to not be a scam. But I'm very sceptical that they would do something. That would be quite a twist and a half if the proposition turned out to not be a scam, if it was a genuine business opportunity for Maria. But no, I'm fairly confident that it is a scam, and Maria would be a fool to invest, wasting all of her money, all of Carla's money. So yes, we've mentioned that. Johnny and Jenny. Now, if you want to see Johnny and Liz together, well, you're gonna have to skip ahead to the next section, because this is all about Johnny and Jenny. Because I don't want to see Johnny with Liz. I don't think Johnny and Liz should be together. I think there's a sign on their love that says, "Do not resuscitate." But at the same time, I don't even think they have love for each other. I do not at all rate Johnny and Liz. I think it should definitely be Johnny with Jenny. So Johnny was at the police station. I'm sure it wasn't for anything too serious. Only, abducting a baby. Yeah, no, that's probably a little bit serious actually. So, yeah, understandably the police weren't too pleased with him for doing that, until Eva decided not to press charges, which it was so lovely of Eva, and it really it was a really nice moment of the episode. And my highlight of the episode was Eva doing that. So yeah, no, that was really good to see that happen. But Eva's moving to France, and Adam just coming with us. Eva's like, "Don't you have a law firm, a business?" I was like, "Yeah, but whatever." So, yeah, Adam's gone as well. Adam and Eva. Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it, Adam and Eva. So it's nice to see those two end up together. And yes, and hopefully Eva will be back in. I'm hoping that Eva comes back in, say, about 4 or 5 years. Johnny's still on the scene. Then he's starting to deteriorate a little bit because of his MS, but he's still really with it, still really compos, as you would say. And Eva comes back, and it's all forgotten. And there's Susie. There's Aiden's daughter, his granddaughter. I think it's not. I was really sad actually that because of Johnny kidnapping, his granddaughter, but Eva's baby, he's never allowed to see her again. Which it was really upsetting for me to think of that, because obviously Susie is all that Johnny has left of his son. So, yeah, that was really sad news that Johnny has lost access to Susie, completely lost access to her. So, yeah, I think I might have covered most of it. We have the whole thing with, well, of course we have the whole thing with David and Shona. David's young daughter Lily found his knife in his coat. So, obviously there's that whole thing. David, what are you doing with a knife? And it's really nice to see a soap tackling the issue of knife crime, because it is something that's quite prevalent in our society, unfortunately. So I really appreciated that we've got a soap that's got the guts to say, hang on, don't carry a knife. Some people have this whole idea, I'll just carry a knife with me for my own protection. But it's nice to see a soap saying, don't do that because it's got consequences. So yeah, I'm really glad to see a soap be brave enough to tackle an issue of knife crime. And Coronation Street has done it before as well. I mean, David's wife died because some lowlife stabbed her. And now, what's David doing? Well, he's doing the only sensible thing. He is going out with that lowlife's mother. I mean, yeah, of course. As you would, right? So, so we had that. That was if Coronation Street was just a drama and they only ever ran 2 storylines and that was one of them, it would definitely be a B story. The whole, I've got a knife, you shouldn't have a knife. It was resolved very quickly, but at the same time I hate seeing storylines dragged out for too long. So it was refreshing to see it only take one episode, well, 2 parts of an episode, but only one full episode to resolve that, and it keeps us entertained, because they've got 6 episodes a week. They've got to fill it up for us, don't they? They've got to give us content to watch, and I like how they're able to link that at the end with Bethany was able to come back, and obviously Bethany's part of the Platt family, so we were able to link the whole thing with the whole Bethany saga with the whole David saga, because obviously they're both victims as well of rape. They're both rape victims, which is obviously awful. So yeah, it's nice, and then Shona can sort of listen to them both and hear both of their stories while David's out walking David. The dog's called David, which is hilarious. And Neil's a pathetic little man, as what Bethany said. And no need to kill him because he's suffering in prison, which was implied. And it goes back to what I was saying in my Emmerdale review, that prison is a better punishment than death, in my opinion, because you're alive and you have to live with what you've done every day. I think that's a far greater punishment than just dying. And it's so barbaric as well for a government to authorize the killing of its citizens. I mean, a criminal, you've got the argument, well, a criminal sort of loses their status as a citizen. But yeah, okay. And Kayla said, I've really mucked things up when she was talking about Craig, which I should have mentioned earlier. I've really mucked it up. What a muck up that was, is what Kayla said, which I really liked, because obviously soap characters have to be really careful about their language, and it felt very realistic when Kayla said to Craig, I've really mucked things up. What a muck up this is. And then Craig told her to muck off, I think. Yeah, so I think that's everything. We have Steve and Tracy as well. That wasn't in yesterday's episode, but that was a storyline that continued throughout this week and will continue in future. The whole thing with Steve and Tracy. Personally, I want Steve to marry Tracy. I want them to be together. For Amy's sake, they've got a child together. They should do right by her. They should stay together for the sake of Amy. I think that's the sensible thing to do. So yes, I definitely want Steve and Tracy to stay together. And but Eileen's back. Oh, Tim and Sally as well. Sally was scammed. I think that was last week. That was in my last review last week. So yes, an eventful week on the cobbles, and I'm looking forward to finding out what happens next week, and you will hear my thoughts sometime in a week's time. So thank you all for listening.